I'm Zimmy,
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Professor Fresh.
and we're with
Revilwen.
You're watching Meet the Locals with April.
So April here with Radio Not Entertainment. I'm doing our segment Meet the Locals. I'm sitting here with Revilwen. I feel like I'm just saying that wrong.
It's a Revilwen.
Okay.
Revilwen, like when you're gonna revel. Like,
Okay.
That's part of it, anyways. But are we doing that? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My fault.
Good. You guys are from Mankato, so introduce yourselves.
I'm Zimmy, and I do vocals.
I'm Professor Fresh. I do spotted vocals and dance moves.
You're our hype guy. I'm Ryan and I play drums.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you guys for sitting down with me.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Really, that was. We're excited to come up.
I'm
So.
glad you came up. I know Mankato's not that far from the city.
No,
but
it's a
still
hop,
little bit
skip, and jump,
yeah.
but we appreciate the support. So.
The couch is totally worth it.
That's good.
The room is totally worth it. The ambiance is great.
So how do you guys describe your music?
I would describe it as, I don't know, punk metal hybrid kind of, I would say.
Well, it's been described by some music venues when we've sent them a sample of our music. They're not quite sure what we're doing, which actually I felt like was a compliment in some respects because we all come from similar yet different backgrounds and with our influences. Like Jeff said, Zimmy said it's more metal punk, but there's elements of funk and hip hop and just it's we've even got a little bluegrass country in I think one song. So
Yeah.
it's it's taking it all together and melding it into
Melting pot.
cornucopia, whatever you want to call it.
It's very diverse.
It's a buffet of music.
A buffet of musical pleasure to your ears, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, I know you sent me the two CDs and I listened to it and I'm like, I don't know how to describe their music. It's interesting in a good way.
Yeah, well, it's something we kind of take pride in, I mean,
Powerful.
to have people say that, we played, it was Steve from the Warehouse in La Crosse, right? He said, I don't really know what type of show to put you guys on, is what he told us. And we're like, well, any show, I mean, we can kind of blend with whatever, but we do keep our roots mostly in the punk rock community,
Yeah.
which in Mankato is, where we usually sit in, right in the punk rock community, and sometimes we play metal shows, but,
And hip hop.
well, yeah, because,
Well, no, I'm not saying it like because
no, because of you. It's all because of you.
I rap a little bit, so that's where I come at it. I'm very.
Let's hear some.
Oh no. I got some discs if you want them. No. Yeah, I'll say something. Well, I'm just very fortunate in the regard that Revilwen. I do some hip hop with them, some rap and some oohs and some ahs, but I'm not like I'm not on every song. So I'm also like this #1 fan, and I go to all their shows and I enjoy it very much, and they're very good. They're very diverse, and so like if at any point in time during this interview I say something that sounds like extraordinarily arrogant about how great they are, it's mostly because I love them so much, and I think I can step back enough from it to be able to say like, hey, yeah, they're like the best. Like when I say going out to do a show with Revilwen, I often refer to them as like the best band ever, and it's because I love them.
We're better than Journey.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
no,
Duh.
I wouldn't go that far.
Journey,
It's-
Styx, and REO put together. Just kidding. They're all very good bands too.
Oh, thanks, Al, for that.
Well, no, and I so I don't ever want to come off like I'm like a core member of Revilwen and I'm gonna have this huge attitude about it. But I love them. They're great. I love them.
Well, when he usually comes in at we call it the climax of the show, or usually the last song. We play a song called Crooks and Jesters. I don't know if you listen to that. It's at the end of there's a rapping at the end, and that's him. And he was actually out in Rhode Island, living in Rhode Island, when we sent him the track and said, just throw something down, and he did. And we got it back, and we were like, whoa, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then he wound up moving back, and so now it's just kind of, that's, the live show. It wouldn't be right if we didn't have you with. So.
Yeah, I do like 30 seconds worth of work, and I'll go to everywhere. I'll travel because it's that much fun. I love these guys. Great guys too.
Oh, we love you too, Al.
Oh God.
Everybody get that. We love them.
Ruining this for you guys.
So how would you guys say your music has evolved since you first started as a band?
You know, I would say it evolved just in the writing process. I think, you know, we started out kind of writing about trivial stuff. You know, I just kind of, I mean, it wasn't ever really trivial, but I think what we've progressed into, we've dabbled in the political side. You know, like Follow the Money, the album, that one of the albums I sent you,
Yep.
is very politically driven. And then the script kind of, I think we've brought it to a different level of what we're doing. You know, Ryan does most of the musical arrangements. I do most of the lyric writing, but that's what I would say, is that we've evolved, like, just as musicians and the stuff we're coming out with.
Well, I think a lot of it evolves with what's going on in our lives, because I feel like our band, it's you know, we're all, you know, have our real, you know, our personal responsibilities, and I feel like our relationships have grown and evolved, and that's shown up in our music, in, you know, us balancing our artistic side of us with our own responsibilities as we've continued to grow as people too. So I feel like the process has developed, not so much maybe in the lyrical content, but just in the process itself, in our maturity as musicians.
Yeah, Zimmy's still terribly immature in his lyrics.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just waiting.
You know,
for
it sounded like you read that off a cue card almost.
You
You practiced that, didn't you? No.
Love it.
So, I'm curious, what are your guys' opinions on the music industry right now?
That's a tough one. You know, to be honest with you, I used to really care a lot about that. You know, I still do care about the artists that are out there cutting their teeth, and you know, even nationals. You know, there's that select 1% that are going to be the ones that are making these millions of dollars, and then the rest of the people still are cutting their teeth. You know, they're touring, having to tour and play 200 shows a year. You know, I don't really give it much thought anymore, because it's gotten to the point where it's not really something. We just think about making the music and then just playing the shows, as opposed to back in the day, maybe in some of our older bands, we thought, well, God, we got to tour and we got to go out and get seen and you know, get exposure and then get signed, and that's the way it's supposed to be, and blah blah blah. And to me, I think the music industry is always going to be that corporate. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. That monster that you don't want to deal with. And I don't know. There's just too many people that you get exploited. You know.
Yeah.
A friend of mine once told me, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling, I'll get to it, I'm sorry. But a friend told me once, he always refers to the AC/DC song, It's a Long Way to the Top If You Want to Rock and Roll. And that song is so right. You know, getting ripped off, underpaid, you know, playing shows to no one, this, that. It's true. If you want to tour, you're going to spend money.
Yeah.
And I was actually watching one of your shows last night.
Yeah.
When you did the show with Emergent.
Okay.
And they hit it right on the head.
They did.
You know, we're going to tour when we feel it's right for us.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where you got to look at it.
And that's a smart way to do it too.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of money to go out and tour.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, there's more opportunity now in the music industry than there ever was, but it's scattered out over. So I think the opportunity for the independent artist is greater than it ever has been, but it may not be in touring, it may not be in recorded music.
Yeah.
There's opportunities in licensing and, you know, opportunities for exposure through, you know, like you giving bands like ours opportunities to get exposure. And you know, just there's so much more content out there that needs music, that it creates more opportunities. But at the same time, if you have the same amount of dollars spread out over that many more people, that means, you know, the pot's bigger. But at the same time, it's, if you think about back into like the 50s or 60s, you have very few, you have a very heavy concentration in very few artists. And that will always tend to happen sometimes, but it's more, I think it's more democratized now, but there's a downside to that democratization in that there's the same amount of dollars that are getting spread out over fewer people.
Yeah.
But equipment costs don't go down. Tour, you know, all the
Gas
other
doesn't
overhead
go
costs
down.
don't go down. So if you have the same amount of dollars spread out over fewer people and costs continue to rise, it makes it very difficult for an independent artist.
Yeah, I think. You want to say something?
No.
Okay.
I agree with
And I
you
think
guys.
that's why so many people are doing it on their own.
Yeah.
You know, because they, you know, you can't afford to recoup stuff to the label if you don't make the money, or if you do this, and you know, it's almost better to put it out, put the music out yourself, and get yourself set up with a good management company that's going to be able to get you on tours or to get you where you need to go to get exposure.
Yeah.
But again, going back to the Emergent, pardon me, going back to the Emergent interview, if you're not going to hit those markets on a consistent basis, then there's really no point in going there.
That's true.
So,
We've talked to a few bands that they'll do one tour a year. They'll either go out east one year and then go out west the next. And it's like
so then it's 2 years before you get back.
Yeah.
So that, you know, I mean, if people are going to remember you, if you don't have airplay or videos on MTV or which they don't play videos anymore. I'm sorry, not MTV, but you know, VH1 or whatever. You know, it's
They don't play videos on VH1.
okay. Vivo, how's that? You don't have a Vivo, you know. But I mean that's it's all just a continuous cycle. So
one big game.
right.
So growing up, who did you guys idolize?
It's a good question. I practiced this one.
Oh.
No. You know, I've spanned a couple decades of music, you know.
More than a couple of decades.
Not going to tell you my age, but, you know, when I was in high school growing up and then coming up into like the early 90s, you know, Seattle was huge for me. You know, that was, you know, with the Nirvana explosion and then all the bands following suit, like Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Grunt Truck, Screaming Trees. I mean, just the list goes on and on. Mudhoney. That scene was like such a pivotal turning point in my life for music because it was just such a unification of a scene and having a city blow up and have so many good bands come out of it that it was something you'll probably never see again. I mean, although that Minneapolis has a really great bunch of bands in here right now. And, but I mean, just to have the industry just pinpoint that city and go, boom, we're going here and we're signing everybody.
Yeah.
Probably won't happen again. And then obviously there was a lull for a while. And then like the 2000s rolled in and new metal hit. And that was huge too. You know, Korn, Deftones, Limp Bizkit, you know, that was huge for me too. So it's kind of, that's probably why we have such a diverse music taste because I span through that and still like all that stuff. So
yeah, because like for me, it's always meant like if I could pinpoint three artists, it would be Beastie Boys, just with how broad they span musically and just how cool they did their own thing. Pantera and Rancid.
Okay.
And so for me, I've always had a very hip hop background, but I've also really enjoyed the melodic music that Rancid's made. But then I love the driving, just punch you in your face.
Yep.
You know, Pantera sound like Vinnie Paul. Just some of his drumming is so simple, but it just like knocks you out.
Yeah.
Like he's the Mike Tyson of drumming by far.
Yeah.
So and yeah, it just kind of all melds together with you know, all these different influences, and it's just music is growing on everyone else's music, because I know we see a lot of bands that they sound like this or like that. Well, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
That's because we listen to it and we try and make it better in our own way. And some people might not think it's better in their own way, but you know, as long as you, the artist, think it's better, then if you can't listen to your own music again and again and again and again, who else is going to?
Yeah.
right.
You make it for yourself. Man, I'm gonna take this one too.
You go ahead.
You know, it's funny. You should say that Pantera, Ryan, because I was gonna say that too. But ultimately, I was always like a metal kid, kind of myself. I was a sucker for a double kick pedal and all that. And I played drums, marching band, pep band, jazz band. But there was always the Beastie Boys. And I think that the Beastie Boys aren't recognized enough. Like, even when you hear, like, the pioneers of hip-hop, they're rarely listed, and that's unbelievable. But very diverse, you know, from their punk rock origins themselves and to their hip-hop. And rest in peace, MCA. I hate to be that guy, but, you know, it's true.
Well, I would even say just, you know, that punk rock roots caused them to do some of the things they did.
Absolutely.
As hip-hop artists, that was punk rock.
When you look at some of the bands that they came up with too, you know, wasn't like Bad Brains and, you know, the DC hardcore scene. Just ridiculous, you know. I mean,
yeah. So yeah, I agree. The Beastie Boys, they're the best band ever. I'll put it out there. And Faith No More.
Yeah,
Comes
that's
in
really good one.
Minnesota. Jesus.
So I'm just curious, what's the meaning behind your guys' band name?
That's very good. It actually does have a couple meanings actually, and the first one is, you know, pretty cool. We get a lot of this question. So, our guitar player Jeremy, who's not here today, obviously, had a liver transplant.
Okay.
And they basically told him, your liver shot, you have, you know, go on the donor list and you have like 6 months. You know, and it was scary. It was a scary thing, you know, and I used to play in the band Discord. We used to play up here a lot, and Jeremy was a fan of Discord. Was a folk singer, never played electric anything. Well, Discord disbanded, and he wanted to start writing, so we started writing in his basement acoustically, and then he went out and bought an electric and just realized, wow, this is fun, you know.
Yeah.
Well, when he was getting a liver transplant, he was in the hospital in Rochester, he came up with the name, Revilwen, but if you spell it backwards, it's new liver. So,
Okay.
so that's the first meaning,
Okay.
new liver, that's one a lot of people are like, whoa, that's cool, you know.
Yeah.
But then he also said it also means revel when. When are we all going to take time in our lives to revel in what we do, enjoy life, you know, that type of thing. So it has a double meaning.
Okay.
But, you know, usually we get that, you know, oh, wow, you had a liver transplant? Man, that's rock and roll. You must have drank too much, you know, stuff like that. Unfortunately, fortunately, that wasn't the case. You know, he just had a misdiagnosis and was put on the wrong medications. And then along with, you know, still going out for casual drinks and stuff like that, you know, things just kind of went south and went to Rochester and like, no, that's not what, he shouldn't have been diagnosed with that, so. But he's good now, he's doing awesome, so.
So you guys have two other band members?
Yep, well, 3 actually. We have our bass player Matt isn't here, and then Ryan, Frederick, and Jeremy Cole, I already talked about.
Okay.
So, yep, family issues. They got family stuff going on.
Yeah.
So.
Gotta take care of it.
Right.
So where can people watching this interview find you guys? Facebook, Twitter, where can they find your music?
We're on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Revilwen.
Okay.
Our music's on Reverb Nation, CD Baby, iTunes. I think it's on Amazon. I think. You know any other stuff? I know that
What's our website?
Spotify. I think. Well, our website's down right now.
Oh, okay.
So, but it is
Okay.
revilwen.com. It will be back up.
ProfessorFresh.com's up and running full swing.
Yeah, there you go. You want to say that again?
ProfessorFresh.com.
There you go. So.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to follow the links below too.
Okay. Cool. Very cool.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for sitting down with me.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Really, this was great. Appreciate what you do.
Yes. Well, thank you. I'm doing it. All right. So check out Revilwen. Check out Meet the Locals. We put out new interviews every Friday at 3 p.m. Central Time, and we'll see you next interview.